Uh-huh. I knew it.
Can I help you?
John Deere fanboy.
You do realize you walked past a Vermeer swather while you were calling me a John Deere fanboy, right? I tell you what, the number of times I've had people hop in my comment section just because we use John Deere tractors and accuse me of being some sort of shill for John Deere who loves everything they've ever done ever and can do no wrong. I don't know. Makes no sense to me. You're weird. And if your entire personality, there we go. Now my hat's straight. If your entire personality is about a brand of tractor or pickup or semi or whatever, you're boring. Our relationship with John Deere is one of convenience. We've got a John Deere dealership that way and a John Deere dealership that way, both within 20 miles. The nearest Case dealer is a fair bit further than that. Why would we use other stuff when it's just a little more convenient? Well, except for hay. Vermeer swather, Vermeer baler, Vermeer rake. Since approximately 2017 or 2018, I can't remember which one anymore, we have owned this Vermeer MC3700 swather. Now, I think it's like 3.7 meters, whatever. I don't know. It's 12 and a half feet because I speak back-to-back World War winners and, first on the moon, first to drop the sun, that kind of language. So it's 12 and a half feet. For more than a minute, I've been kicking around the idea of getting another swather, something a little bigger. Before the farm split, we were running a 956 Moco with the V12, V10 rollers, whatever the steel-on-steel roller is of John Deere's. And so we went from a 15-foot swather down to a 12.5-foot swather, which, boy, that just absolutely nerfs your efficiency. So one of the reasons is because this is a narrow swather. Kind of a problem if you're wanting to get anything done in less than 3 to 5 business weeks. The other thing is my wife, who absolutely loves things like mowing and swathing. I'm not a big fan. Mowing and swathing and everything, just I think about all the other things I could be doing, and it bothers my brain, my ADD, whatever you want to call it. So with her height issues, she's only 5 feet tall. So running the sound guard, running the 7R with the Pull-Type swather is really, really tough for her. She just doesn't fit quite right, turning, twisting, watching behind her. After a while, it wrecks her back and her hips, and my dad and I doesn't do us any favors either. So finally made the decision to go self-propelled. And that was not a decision that I took lightly. Now, for some folks, the answer is obvious. Go self-propelled. They're more comfortable. They're easier to run. They're easier to see. I get it. I really do. But I don't like the idea of having extra engines when I don't necessarily need it. We have plenty of tractors here between us and our uncle to run a Pull-Type swather, and that's one less engine we have to take care of. That's why we ended up staying Pull-Type when we got this Vermeer. However, Pull-Type swathers are turning into a pretty niche market, and the prices for them have absolutely skyrocketed. Back in, I forget what it was like 13, 12, something like that. That when my cousins and I bought the old 956, I think we paid $42 for it, brand new. And had the V10 rollers in it and everything else. A good unit back in the day. That same swather now, new, is somewhere around $80,000. A replacement for this is $71,000, which is just utter insanity. If I'm going to start spending that kind of money on a Pull-Type, maybe it's time to look at self-propelleds. Before all this started, my knowledge of self-propelled swathers or windrowers, whatever regional name you want to use for them, could have fit inside this fume, which helps me quit some bad habits. Do you have some bad habits that you're trying to quit? Give Fume a try. No nicotine, no batteries, no cancer-causing vape juice, just flavored air. Go to tryfume.com/jtechfarms. You'll get 10% off. Like how I worked that ad in there? What can I say? I'm good like that. So I looked high and low, did a lot of research, talked to a lot of custom cutters. What do you use? What do you like? Tell me why you switched from this brand to this brand. What can you tell me of different swathers of different eras? And I learned a lot. Now, I looked at some deer swathers because, well, that's of course the first place I'm going to start to look because, again, I got a deer dealer that way and I got a deer dealer that way. Pretty obvious place to start. However, couldn't find what I wanted, and for some reason, people really, really, really like to hang on to their $49.95 self-propelleds. I'm not entirely sure why they hold their value more than anything else on the entire planet. But people want a lot of money for an old clapped out wreck of one of those things. So given that that was out of my budget, started looking at other brands. Plus, had quite a few people telling me like, hey, you're going to want to look at something other than green. This is why, other guys around here that run pretty much everything else green kind of went away from the deer swathers. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll start looking at other things that aren't green. I'm not opposed to it. Looked around, looked at MacDons, Massey's, Cases, and then settled on New Holland, of all things. Matter of fact, here it comes right now. Since this is my harebrained idea, I got to be the one to back the old swather up onto the trailer so they get this thing hauled out of here. Now, thankfully, on this model of Vermeer, the wheels are on the inside of the carrier frame, which gives me a little bit more wiggle room as we try to get this thing backed up on here. I'm not wanting to swing the arm too much just because I don't want it sitting at a weird angle when they go to try to get it off. Now, of course, the shop finally gets my uncle's semi all done, and he's trying to bring it back and put it away in the shed at the same time that we're trying to do all this. So he's just going to have to leave it there while we're working on this and trying to get it put up. You'll notice they're really struggling with those rear extension sliders. According to the trucker, they hadn't had to use those in years. They had to get the pry bars out and everything, just try to get them to pop loose and come out. You don't really appreciate just how long one of these pull-type swathers swing arms really are until you try to back them up into a shed, pack stuff around them, or like in this case, get it up on the trailer. So right now we're about to notice that we're going to have a little issue here. See how low my hitch is? And right about there, it catches on the trailer. Unfortunately, kind of where we're at right now, there's not a whole lot we can do, but just try to kind of get me straightened up a little bit. And they said, just go ahead and go for it and get it up on there. It caught one little piece and bent it a little bit, but nothing to actually hurt it or anything. So, whew, that was a little bit stressful, but at least it's up on there now.
Hello, Adam Fisher at Titan Machinery in the sales department, and today we are here looking at this wonderful HW340 New Holland windrower 2004. And back in its day was probably one of the better windrowers out there, and I think it still has probably a lot it's still a nice windrower for its age. This particular windrower came out of Ansley, Nebraska. Was the previous owner, family farm. He bought it with, it was maybe 1 or 2 years old, had 100 or 200 hours on it. He owned it for 18 years and had probably 100 acres of hay on it that he cut each year. So depending on whether it was a good rain year or not, 1 to 4 cuttings of hay with it. So they got along really well with it. He ended up going to a newer swather, and he said it was probably going to be his last one before he gave it up. So it's passed down one more generation over here to these guys, and I think it's going to make a great windrower for them as well.
So now you may be thinking to yourself, wow, Tyler, that was quite the buildup, and you bought a 20-year-old swather. Good for you. I know. For some of you, this is less than exciting, but for me, this is a step in a completely new direction. For my entire life, I've ran pull-type swathers. Like, I started out on a 1600A sickle pull-type deer that if you hooked the other windrow with it, you would slug it. Is it the prettiest swather you ever did see? No, it's not. I don't want the prettiest swather you ever did see. Those cost a lot of money, which I don't have a whole lot of right at this very second. But what this is a solid machine with some faded paint. The previous owner took really good care of this thing. Engine's in great shape. I mean, it's just a clean unit underneath all that faded paint. It is, 2,200 original hours on it. So it's got a lot of life left in it. Not a clapped out wreck by any stretch. I hope this thing does everything that I'd like it. I'm hoping it's going to save some time, allow me to distribute the workload a little more when it comes to the hay. Make it something that, I can see better in. It's a little less exhaustive for me to drive and run and operate and all that good stuff. And that, my wife can now hop up in here and it's not going to tear up her back or her hips or anything like that. She can see a little better, operate it a little more efficiently. And, if my dad decides he wants to hop up in here and run this, it'll be something for him that he can hopefully operate a little easier than the pull types. Titan Machinery did do a lot of work to this unit. There are a few things I told him not to worry about because I want to do it because I want to learn how to do it before it's time to get out there and start cutting brome or the second cutting of alfalfa. These turtle shells have some age on them. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of them just need flipped. There was one that had a little spot that was kind of wearing through a little bit right there. So eventually this needs some new turtles. Could use some new knives. Actually, no, those knives don't look half bad. So there might be a few things that I need to do in here before going out and swathing. This is great for me because I'm going to learn more about how this thing operates by doing some of this work myself rather than having them do it all for me. One nice thing that they did is they put these new apron pieces in the corner. That saved a lot of work on my end because they ended up having to torch most of the old bolts out. And it also needs some new rock skirting, which, yeah, it's a 20-year-old swather. Duh. So needs it there. Those are starting to get old and rip a little bit, and then it needs that one there. Here in a little while, I'll be getting on, it's discmowerdoctor.com and getting some new shells, some new lifters, new skirting. The stuff on there is, maybe if you're someone who does custom hay, maybe it's not quite the best quality aftermarket stuff. But for us here who don't do a ton and a half of hay, they'll be more than adequate for in there without any trouble. So have some extra gearboxes and stuff for the clockwise, counterclockwise, have one of each. So if I do blow one out, I have one on hand. You know, a couple little odds and ends just to make sure that I can keep this thing running. I am simultaneously nervous because, again, it is a 20-plus-year-old swather, but I'm also excited because it's something new, something different, and something that'll get me out of my comfort zone and force me to learn something new. And for all of those of you who keep calling me a deer shill, that doesn't say John Deere on it. So, while I got you here, easiest way to help out my channel, like the video, leave a comment down in the comment section. It could be just as something as simple as a thumbs up, or if you have owned or own a HW340 New Holland Self-Propelled, let me know what you thought of it, or if you liked it, still use it, things to look out for, some idiosyncrasies, whatever. Let me know down in the comment section. Then, please don't forget to share the video. Share it with a friend, share it with an enemy, share it with a CNH aficionado. And then while you're doing all that, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that little bell icon so you don't miss another video of all the things we got going on here at JTAG Farms. Hope to see you back next time. As always, thanks for stopping by.